Hi, welcome to RememberYoani.com. I'm Rabbi Avram Goldhar, and I must say I'm amazed. We're about to be Messiah Masechus Berachos and begin Masechus Shabbos next week. It has gone a lot easier than I anticipated doing with the Simanim, so it is easier than I even thought doing, which is great. And there's more coming down the pike, hopefully for Shabbos, things to do to enhance our retention of Shabbos and Daf Yomi. I've gotten a lot of great suggestions from many of you, so I appreciate them. I hope to incorporate them starting next week. And if you have suggestions that you haven't shared, by all means, I'm open. I'd love to hear what you suggest to help us all become more productive in our making a kinyan. Okay, today we're going to review the dafim from Daf Nun Beis to Daf Nun Ches, today's daf. Here we go, and then I'll quiz you at the end. Daf Nun Beis is a knob, and we said what has a lot of knobs and buttons, like an old-fashioned robot. You know, nowadays robots will be so sleek they'll be like human beings. You won't be able to tell the difference, but in the olden days they're nice clunky things with lots of knobs and buttons. So what is covered on Daf Nun Beis, we have all the different machlokas between Beisham Beis Hillel, Gabi Yasuda, in terms of Yom Yom Tchila or on the Yayin Tchila, and does Beis Shammai really hold Yom Yom Tchila? Then we get to the issues of Mezigah Kos versus Kiddush, Mezigah Kos versus Netilas Yadayim, and we get into where you should put the mappah, on the shulchan, on the kesses, sweeping. When should that occur, and can you be mashamish, can you use a shamish that's not a Talmud Chacham? So we have an old-fashioned robot and holding a Havdalah set in one hand, and a Netilas Yadayim in the other, with a nice little napkin over his arm like a waiter, and he's got a broom attached to him that's an automatic sweeper. So that's our sim for Daf Nun Beis. Daf Nun Gimel is Noga. So what gives off a lot of light? Flashlights. So we're going to use the flashlights, which happens to be appropriate because on Daf Nun Gimel, it's all about the light of Havdalah. Which sources of light can be used for Havdalah? A little kid walking with a candle shortly after Shabbos, going holding candles, restaurants or stores, stores using Havdalah lights and bakeries. And so what type of light can be used? And then we got to the Malchus Beisham Beis Hillel, that if one forgot to bench, in the makom that they ate, do you have to go back to the place that they ate, even if it's up a mountain? And we had the case for Rabbi Baruch, who felt uncomfortable telling the caravan he had not benched, so he said he forgot a golden dove. And lo and behold, when he gets back there, the nace occurs, and he does find a golden dove. And then we have the question of what is more chashuv, the saying the Amen or saying a bracha. So our simon for Daf Nun Gimel is a town, Motzi Shabbos, and everybody's shining flashlights out of their homes and out of their stores and out of their bakeries. So the question, what type of light can be used? A little kid holding a flashlight, and then there's a big spotlight shining on this mountain, where one will have to go back to say Berachos and Mazon. At the top of the mountain is the golden dove, and the golden dove is chirping or cooing, Amen, 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 because to him it's more chashuv than the bracha. Okay, that's Daf Nun Gimel. Daf Nun Daled is needy people. We don't want to use needy people in the simon, so we're going to use all those wonderful children that collect for needy people. Nowadays, here where I am, they're Baruch Shem everywhere collecting for a variety of great causes. So what happens in Daf Nun Daled? We have the Mishnah of the ninth parak, the long Mishnah that deals with all the various brachas we'll say in a place in a nace happen for Klal Yisrael or for thunder and lightning. We have the whole incident with Og Melch Bashan, with the mountain falling around his head like a donut, with his teeth emerging, getting long. And then we have also the other nace of the mountain of the crushing the Amoraim who are hiding in the caves. And then we get to when you bench Gomel. Who do you bench Gomel for? The four people who would bench Gomel. So what's our simon? So we have all those cute little kids with their pushkas outside the shul. It's a thundering lightning, it's thundering and lightning outside, flashes of lightning. And off in the distance, dead on the ground, is Og Melch Bashan with a huge mountain around his neck that's oozing blood because of the Amoraim. And then we have on their pushkas, the labels, the pictures of the four different people who are they collecting for, the various people in need who would eventually bench Gomel. That's Nun Daled. Nun Hey. Now, I've tried for many years to come up with a good sim for Nun Hey, and for whatever reason, I just have not been able to. So I just switched it around, and I went Hey Nun, hen. Okay, so we'll use hen for Nun Hey. And it's just interesting how Nun always gets switched around, upside down, this way. Nun has a tough time. Okay, so we Nun Hey is a hen. So what would we cover in Nun Hey? We cover the topic of people who are Marichim L'Yamav. It's like someone davening for a very long time is Marichim L'Yamav. We have I got to tell about Betzalel, why he's called Betzalel, and the building of the Mishkan, in the background there. And then we have also the introduction to dreams. It's just interesting that at the time that I went that daf, I just called it the dream daf. Little did I know there's a couple more dream dafim coming along. So we have our case of a very old man davening by a bed. He's very old, a very long beard, because he's been davening so long he gets to live a long time. And he's davening next to a bed where someone's dreaming, and that person's dreaming of Betzalel and the Mishkan, and just how wondrous it must have been. So that's Daf Nun Hey. Daf Nun Vav is new, like a newspaper. So we're going to use a newspaper, and we have on that daf the whole long incident of Abai and Rava going to Bar Hedya, who is a dream interpreter, and when Abai pays him to interpret the dreams, he gets the good, positive outcomes. Rava didn't, he gets the negative outcomes, and it's a whole long incident to the point that eventually Rava discovers that it's all going after, everything goes after the peh, and because he wasn't paid, he was getting all these bad outcomes. He gets cursed, and Bar Hedya eventually dies. Gets killed for eventually working with the Romans and being discovered. We also have dream of varieties of different animals, camels, dogs, cats, donkeys, and when you have a dream that has two different interpretations, one's positive, one negative, one should say the pasuk that's shaykh to the positive outcome, to affect the positive outcome. So that's Daf Nun Vav. So Daf Nun Vav is a newspaper. The headline is Bar Hedya is dead. Bar Hedya dead. And you have two columns. One is Abai and all his good things that happened, and Rava down the other side, all the terrible things that happened to Rava. And then at the bottom is a picture of all these animals running out of a zoo, who are the things we dream about, and chasing after people of the bad outcomes if they don't say the pasuk, the appropriate pasuk. Okay, that's Daf Nun Vav. Daf Nun Zayin is a nose, a very long nose. So that's what we're going to use. So we have someone, his name is Hananya. We'll talk first about the topics. We have someone dreams of seeing the names Hananya, Hanina, Yochanan. He'll be zochid to many nisim. We also have the issue of someone dreaming and dreaming of saying Yehei Shmei Rabbah, and what that affects. We have also someone dreaming of the Dal Minim, holding different Dal Minim, or dreaming of different kings, and different kings, what the outcomes will be if it's David Melech or Shlomo Melech, or Achav. And then we have also people dreaming of different Sfarim, and what that will lead to, like a Tehillim or Mishlei or Shir Shirim, and so that is Daf Nun Zayin. So the siman is you have someone with a very long nose lying down on a bed. His name is Hananya, and he's yelling out Yehei Shmei Rabbah in his dreams, like he's talking in sleep, Yehei Shmei Rabbah, and he's holding in one hand a Dal Minim, and he's sleeping with the other hand holding a Tehillim and a Mishlei, and imagines being in a sukkah, and the posters of the sukkah that have kings on them, the kings are talking to each other, like David and Shlomo Melech and so on. So he dreams of that. So that's Daf Nun Zayin. And today's Daf Nun Ches is Noach and the Teva, but I don't want to use Noach and the Teva in a siman directly. So we're just going to think of a big cruise liner for Noach. Okay? Daf Nun Ches, I should say. And what do we have on Daf Nun Ches? Today's Daf, we have the bracha one recites when they see 600,000 Yidden, and then what Ben Zoma recited in terms of the world being great for him when he saw the 600,000 Yidden. We have the incident with Rav Sheshes, who was blind, who went to see the king. Malchis went to see a king, and Tzeduki questioned why he would do such a thing when he's blind, and the whole story there, how he knew the king was coming even though he couldn't see it, and what happened to the Tzeduki in the end. We have Rosh Shila, which we have the incident where he had someone lashed who was Boel a Mitzris, and what happened to that person, and then him darshaning the pasuk Hashem Gdula and so on. And then we have the coming to the Rav Chisda coming to the ruins of the one who had a house filled with was Berachani ben Barchanilai. Anyway, I have to go back to the daf, but he had a great house that he had 60 bakers during the day, 60 bakers during the night. The houses were open on all four sides. People can come in any time to get without being embarrassed, and all the tremendous chesed that came out of his house and sensitivity, and now it's in ruins. And Rav Chisda sighing a terrible sigh for seeing that. And then we have the idea of when one sees something they haven't seen for 12 months, they should say the Bracha of Shechianu. Okay, so what's our simon? So we have this big cruise liner that is holding 600,000 passengers. At the top is the Melech waving to the people and saying the Pasuk Hashem. And so that Pasuk. And there's an Egyptian donkey there. And he's on his way to the house to see the Rav who had such chesed pouring out of his house. And when he sees him, he's going to make a Shechianu. Okay, those are Simanim from Daf Nun Beis to Daf Nun Ches. Now I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay, on these dafim. Okay, which daf would we find the Malchokas bin Beisham Beis Hillel in terms of Mevarcha Yom Tchila or Mevarcha Yain Tchila, and clearing that? That's on Daf Nun Beis. Great. Where do we have the whole mice of Bar Hedya with Abayin Rava? That's on Daf Nun Vav, right? The newspaper, Nun Vav. Good. Where do we have the Malchokas Beisham Beis Hillel in terms of, do you have to go back to the place that you ate in if you forgot to bench, even if it means going up in a mountain, so to speak, and that incident with the golden dove, Rabbi Baruch Hana, that's on Daf Nun Gimel. Nun Gimel is the flashlights, the light shining on that mountain. Great. Where do we have the sugya of Betzalel? We learned about Betzalel, how he knew the proper order to build the Kalim and the Mishkan and then the Kalim. Where was that? That's on Daf Nun. Okay, let's go Daf Nun Hey. The hens. The hens are circling. I forgot to mention the hens are circling the bed with the old man davening. How could I forget that? Right? The hens are circling the bed with the old man davening, and the person's dreaming, and he's dreaming of Betzalel. Okay. Where do we have the sugya of the need to pray, the bracha one recites when seeing 600,000 Yidden? That's on Daf Nun Ches, right? The cruise liner with 600,000 passengers. Where do we have the sugya of whether the sweeping should occur and whether you can use a shamash who's not a Talmid Chacham? Where was that? That's on Daf Nun Beis. Great. Where do we have where with the large mission of the opening of the 9th parak, Haroah, dealing with making brachas and nisim and thunder and lightning? Where was that? That's on Daf Nun Daled, right? The kids with their pushkas. Good. Where do we have the topic of bracha? When we dream of holding one of the dalbim, being Sukkot is coming, dreaming of holding an esrog, a lulav, and what the meaning of that is. That's on Daf Nun Zayin, right? Chananya with the long nose, sleeping, holding in one hand the esrog. Great. I'm going to ask you two more. Where do we have the topic of having to go meet Malchi Yisrael, running to greet Malchi Yisrael, and the whole story with Rav Sheshus and the Tzeduki? That's on Daf Nun Ches. Great. And one more. Where do we have the case where you should? I don't think I said this one. Where do you learn how to when you should bench gomel? The 4 cases when you should bench gomel. That's on Daf Nun Daled with the kids collecting for the needy people with their labels, right? Great. Okay, so those are the simanim for this week. Mitzvah Hashem, next week we'll make a siyum. We'll have a grand chazorah, Mitzvah Hashem, of the entire Masechta from beginning to end of all the simanim, which will be a great chance to look at as we go weiter in Shabbos to keep brachas fresh in our mind's eye. And so keep steiging, and Mitzvah Hashem will have a wonderful Shabbos.